Hey there, story time. You ready for another good story? Me too. This story is called Abraham Follows God. The people who moved away from Babel forgot God and became more sinful. They prayed, but not to God. Wherever they went, they worshiped something. Many worshiped things that God had made, like the sun, the moon, and the stars. Later, they even worshiped the rivers. They worshiped mountains, hills, stones, anything except God. They made images or figures of wood and stone. They called these images gods, and then they worshiped them. Near Babel, another city was built. It was Ur of the Chaldees. The people who lived there were known as Chaldeans. They worshiped the moon god, Ur. They named their city Ur in honor of their god named Ur. On the plains near Ur lived old Terah, a shepherd farmer. He had 3 grown sons, Abram, Nahor, and Haran. They worked with their father. Haran died while still young and left a son named Lot. Abram did not worship the moon god, but believed in the true God. About this time, the family left Ur. Terah took Abram and his wife, Nahor and his family, and Lot. They took all they owned, their tents, their large flocks of sheep, their herds of cattle. Day after day, they journeyed up the great river Euphrates until they came to a place they called Haran. Here they settled. Time passed, and old Terah died. One day, Abram heard God calling him. God said, "Leave this country, your relatives and your father's house. Go to a land that I will show you. I will bless you and make you a great blessing. Through you, all the families in the whole earth will be blessed." As many people came to realize later, this meant that a Savior would be born into the family of Abram. Jesus Christ would be a blessing to the whole world. Leaving his brother Nahor and his family at Haran, Abram started out. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and their servants. Driving their flocks and herds before them, they turned away from the great river and journeyed southwest toward the land of Canaan. On one side, the mountains rose wild and high. On the other side, the barren desert stretched out as far as they could see. On and on they traveled, across rivers, through valleys, over hills, each day farther from their homeland and nearer to the land that God had promised. When they reached the plain of Moreh, God spoke again to Abram. "This is the land I will give to you and your children." Abram built an altar there and worshiped God. Now this land was called Canaan, and the people were known as Canaanites. Abram did not live in the cities, but pitched his tents wherever he could and pastured his cattle and sheep. His flocks and herds grew larger and larger. Abram became rich. Later, there was a famine in the land. The grass and water dried up. Nowhere could Abram find pasture, and so he moved to Egypt. When the famine was over, he returned to Canaan. What do you think's going to happen? We're going to keep reading and find out.